Welcome back to the channel. Today we're exposing the real story behind Nixon's 1971 decision that changed money forever. Most people call it the end of the gold standard. The truth is much darker. It was the moment the dollar was cut loose from reality. Let's go back. After World War II, the Bretton Woods system made the US dollar the world's anchor. 1 ounce of gold equaled exactly $35. Every other major currency was pegged to the dollar. This was supposed to stop the currency wars and hyperinflation nightmares of the 1920s and 30s. It worked for a while. In the 1950s, America held 20,000 tons of gold, the biggest hoard in history. But by 1971, that number had collapsed below 9,000 tons. Why? Because countries like France, under Charles de Gaulle, smelled weakness. They saw America printing dollars to fund the Vietnam War and Lyndon Johnson's Great Society programs.
There can be no other criterion, no other standard than gold. Yes, gold, which never changes, which can be shaped into ingots, bars, coins, which has no nationality, and which is eternally and universally accepted as the unalterable fiduciary value par excellence.
Le fait que beaucoup d'États acceptent par principe des dollars au même titre que de l'or pour les règlements des différences qui existent à leur profit dans la balance des paiements américaines, ce fait entraîne les Américains à s'endetter et à s'endetter gratuitement vis-à-vis de l'étranger. Car ce qu'ils doivent, ils lui payent, tout au moins en partie, avec des dollars. Il ne tient qu'à eux vérité, on ne voit pas qu'il puisse y avoir réellement de critères, des talons, autres.
So they started cashing in their dollars for physical gold. The vault was bleeding. Silver had already been kicked out of the monetary system. The infamous crime of 1873 quietly demonetized silver in the US. By 1965, silver coins vanished completely. Industrial demand exploded. The price peg shattered. Fast forward to August 1971. Richard Nixon gathers his inner circle at Camp David. Treasury Secretary John Connally, future Fed Chair Paul Volcker, and others. The official story? A temporary closure of the gold window.
I have directed Secretary Connally to suspend temporarily the convertibility of the dollar into gold or other reserve assets, except in amounts and conditions determined to be in the interest of monetary stability and in the best interest of the United States.
To stop a run on Fort Knox and fight inflation. But archival documents tell a completely different tale. The decision was locked in by January 1971. They manufactured a crisis to justify breaking the rules unilaterally. By 1973, currencies floated freely. Nixon slapped a 10% import surcharge to bully Japan and Europe into revaluing their money. Wage and price controls were tried, then quickly abandoned. Gold and silver became just speculative commodities. The dollar? It became a promise, backed by nothing but faith. Here's the sinister part. This wasn't about saving the system. It was about supercharging American power. The US could now export its inflation, import goods on the cheap, and run endless deficits without ever paying the bill in gold. Sinister motive number 1, weaponizing the dollar for imperial overreach. Nixon and Connally hated the gold peg. They called it a straitjacket. Vietnam alone cost $168 billion. That's 1.5 trillion in today's money. The Great Society added hundreds of billions more. Under real gold convertibility, you can't print what you can't back. So they smashed the window, flipped off our allies, and freed the printing press. The dollar kept reserve status anyway, thanks to a secret deal, Petrodollars. Saudi Arabia and OPEC agreed to price oil only in US dollars. In exchange, American military protection. All those oil profits flowed right back into US treasuries. The world began subsidizing American debt, and still does. Today, that debt sits at over $35 trillion, and the world keeps paying. Developing nations borrow in dollars. When the Fed hikes rates, they drown. Then the IMF arrives with austerity, neo-colonialism with better branding. Some went further. Conspiracy researcher Peter Beater claimed Fort Knox was already empty by 1971.
This is the Dr. Beater audio letter, Box 16428, Fort Worth, Texas, 76133.
Hello, my friends. This is Dr. Beater speaking. Today is June 21, 1975, and this is my monthly audio letter number 1. A lot of things have been happening lately that probably have you concerned and puzzled. Things like the Maya Gas affair, the prospect of financial collapse of New York City, the domino effects throughout the economy, and so on. First, about Fort Knox. You know, the Fort Knox gold scandal is just like the Watergate scandal in one respect. There is a desperate cover-up going on right now, just as happened with Watergate. The Fort Knox gold scandal cover-up really passed the point of no return last September, when the United States Treasury perpetrated the Fort Knox gold inspection hoax in an attempt to discredit my charges that there's no gold in Fort Knox because it had all been illegally removed.
We're also going to Fort Knox. I'm going to go with Elon. And would anybody like to join us? Because we want to see if the gold is still there. We want to see. Wouldn't that be terrible? We open up this Fort Knox. It's just solid granite that's 5 feet thick. The front door, you need 6 musclemen to open it up. I don't even think they have windows. Wouldn't that be terrible if we opened it up and there was no gold? Really?
Sinister motive number 2, empowering the banking cartel. Once gold was gone, fiat unleashed the derivatives monster. Banks allegedly began suppressing gold and silver prices through naked shorting in the futures markets, selling paper contracts they could never deliver, crashing spot prices whenever metals threatened to run. Billions in fines have been paid. Deutsche Bank, JP Morgan, HSBC, all caught rigging or spoofing precious metals. Yet nothing changes. Why? A soaring gold price screams that the dollar is dying. Central banks and mega banks cannot allow that signal. GATA has FOIA documents proving central banks secretly lease gold to commercial banks, hiding true supply. No full Fort Knox audit since 1953. That silence fuels stories of tungsten-filled bars or quiet sales to China. Maybe those stories are wild, but the lack of transparency is not. The result? Volatility the banks control. Retail investors get crushed. Gold dropped 45% from 2011 to 2015. Silver, with its thinner market, gets slaughtered even worse. Industrial buyers, solar, EVs, bid it higher, then paper shorts slam it down. The top 1%, who own half of all financial assets, win. Savers lose 2% a year, every year, to moderate inflation. So was 1971 an accident or the greatest heist in history? You decide. Drop your thoughts below, like if you want sound money back. My next video, I'll get into the world's response to a weaponized dollar. The rise of BRICS.